Welcome to day two of Black Student Success Week. Today's topic is supporting Black students' success through racial equitable state policy. As we understand the vicious legacy of white supremacy and racism in this country, one of the most fundamental levers to leverage positionality, power, and privilege and oppression has been through policy. And that's why today's conversation is so salient. Some of you are asking, why are we talking about policy? Why can't we hear more data or more student narratives? Well, policy is at the core of how you exclude people. We talk about Brown versus Board. We talk about how politics and policies and procedures and laws and governance were utilized to completely disenfranchise and dissuade and distract folks from seeking education. So today's conversation is that much more salient. It is that much more important. And we have some of the most key agendas that we want every single person here to be cognizant and aware of if you want to support Black student success. And so thank you for joining us today, wherever you may be coming from. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is no longer a national conversation. This is an international conversation. And I'm excited to be your co-host today, along with two of my phenomenal co-hosts. My name is Dr. Abdulmalik Bull. I have the privilege and honor of serving as a visiting executive of educational excellence and equal employment opportunities at the Chancellor's Office. I also serve in the daytime and in the evenings and in between times as the Vice President of AMEND. And I have my phenomenal colleague today, Katrina Linden, in the Campaign for College Opportunity, who will be working us through the agenda today. And of course, the hostess with the mostest, Dr. Eric Handy, Dean at Diablo Valley College and board member of AMEND. And so with that being said, I want to turn it over to my good colleague, Dr. Eric Handy, to work us through the day. Dr. Eric Handy.
Dr. Bull coming in hot, as always, looking good. If you happen to miss the first webinar, don't worry. There's a visually captivating illustrative presentation available detailing exactly what was covered. Throughout Black Student Success Week, the Black Hour, we will be elevating these ideas and highlighting themes through this remarkable visual communications. So we want to say thank you to the sketch effects. Those visual summaries are available at the California CA Black Student Success link tree. We also want to always acknowledge and give a special thanks to our sponsors. Want to let you know that we are still accepting sponsorships and donations. For more information, feel free to contact equityavengers.com. Again, that is www.equityavengers.com. I'm very excited for day two of Black Student Success Week, hashtag the Black Hour. You happen to log on a little late, feel free to catch us on YouTube. Yesterday, we had upwards of 300 viewers on YouTube. We had over 1,000, that's right, over 1,000 total viewers on the webinar and on the YouTube. Now we're in our fourth year. We are just excited that we are continually thinking about change and how we can help our future. So stay tuned after the Black Hour for the after party workshops. They are immediately following the Black Hour webinars. This is a space for the Black Hour attendees to have discussions. Also, new this year is the Student Hour, which is an evening workshop for students and prospective students. We are working in tandem with the California Community College Chancellor's Office I Can Go to College campaign. And so the Student Hour webinars are from 5 to 6 p.m. And students attending each webinar workshop have a chance to win a $100 gift card and cash prizes. Speaking of cash prizes, please don't forget you have a chance to win you lunch on us. Each day we are giving out Uber Eats gift cards upwards of $20. We want to shout out yesterday's winner, Crystal Moore at pro_nerd. Shout out to you, Crystal. Enjoy that lunch on us. Last but not least, we want to make sure that you know about our Black Student Success Week merchandise that is still available. Go ahead and scan that barcode there. Black Student Success merchant swag, as you can see, this is Miss Lisa Ratchford representing in her swag. Dr. Bull and I are representing that camo swag. So we have lots of swag. You see different swag each week being represented. And it's important that you support Black Student Success Week by purchasing swag and merchandise, because portions of those swag and merchandise goes directly to our students for student scholarships. As you'll see, each student today that's participating in the panel workshop will receive a $1,000 scholarship. So we just want to really show what it looks like to support our students, not just with resources, but also with honoring their time and their commitment. Now, let's get the day started. And to do that, I want to kick it to Dr. Bull, who's going to work us through our agenda and work us through our wonderful panelists.
Thank you, Dr. Eric Handy. You know, I bought in my camo. Me and Dr. Eric Handy got our camo on because it's battle mode. We at war here. And we have one of our phenomenal advocates and champions and warriors advocating for Black student success with us today, Assembly Member Lori Wilson. Before we get into her bio, I want us to talk about a famous political statement that I always hear, and that is, if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. And as we look and reflect back on the past 4 years of Black Student Success Week, we have been unapologetically advocating for Black student-centered policies, which undoubtedly uplift everyone. But at the core focus, if you look at the most vulnerable, most marginalized populations across all spectrums that we saw yesterday, no matter what a disproportionate impact of population you're looking at, whether it's students facing homelessness, food insecurities, disabilities, formerly incarcerated, former foster youth, across all those metrics, you will see our Black students represented, overrepresented rather. And so today it's a privilege and honor for me to bring someone to you all who was the chair of the California Legislative Black Caucus, Assembly Member Lori Wilson of AD 11 leads a 12-member caucus in advocating for the protection and advancement of Black and African American Californians and seeks to increase participations in all levels of government. Prior to serving the legislature, Chair Wilson was the first Black woman to serve as mayor of Solano County, as mayor of Suisun City, and I have to practice that pronunciation, some remember. During her tenure, she worked tirelessly to make Suisun City a welcoming and safe place to call home. Lori has a track record of fiscal responsibility while leading efforts to bring more housing, jobs, and diversity to her city. She was committed to fighting for the residents of California's 11th Assembly District with a track record of creating good jobs, keeping the community safe, and improving the quality of life for all our constituents. She successfully implemented a number of public health and safety initiatives to ensure the residents were able to stay safe and healthy through the pandemic. As part of the pandemic response, she worked with her city fire department in coordination with Solano County Public Health and Office of Emergency Services to bring in free COVID-19 testing. Under her leadership, her city worked with the community action partnerships of Solano County to house the homeless against exposure to COVID. Additionally, Member Lori worked in partnership with the police and Solano County Behavioral Health to assist those who are homeless and contracted for the Cardio Mental Wellness app to improve mental health responses. During the devastating fire season, Lori helped to set up community centers and sports complexes to house those fleeing from the LNU lighting complex fires. She personally secured costs for the American Red Cross and delivered them so that 160 displaced senior citizens who are en route would have a place to sleep for the night. Before she took office, she also served as the vice chair of the City Parks and Recreation Commission and founding president of the City Community Services Foundation. Most recently, she worked as a director of finance for National Home Builders for over 10 years and previously held roles as a chief accountant at Fair Housing Napa Valley and auditor of Solano County. Her career, life story, and heartfelt passion for making a difference laid a foundation and prepared Lori to serve her city residents in the political arena. So without further ado, I'd like to present to you all Assembly Member Lori Wilson.
Thank you so much. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. It is an honor to be able to serve in this position, not only as Assembly Member, but as noted as Chair of the Black Caucus, and to be able to focus on issues that are impacting Black Californians, no matter where you live, whether it's in the North or High North or Central Valley or Southern California. And absolute pleasure as it relates to Black Student Success Week and the work that you're doing, striving to be better, to do better, and to support your communities. For me, it's I've had the pleasure as a Black woman in the Assembly to stand on the shoulders of so many strong, powerful, Black, dynamic women leading California. Those that have a legacy that is long. Those is like Speaker Karen Bass, who not only served in the legislature here, but served as our congresswoman representing us at the federal level, and now, leading in LA City. I mean, just the fact that we have her standing in that position, really providing a blueprint for other great cities in California to lead. We have Congresswoman Barbara Lee, who I personally am fighting to be our next senator, and who also served here in the legislature, and one of the first one Black woman from Northern California. Gwen Moore, Maxine Waters, Holly Mitchell, Cheryl Brown, Shirley Weber, and of course, the list goes on and on. And I also have the distinct privilege of being able to serve alongside 4 other legislators. We have Senator Lola Smallwood Cuevas, who's brand new to the Senate and came to us this past December, as well as Assemblymember Mia Bonta, Tina McKinnon, and Dr. Akilah Weber. Powerful women who are doing amazing things. And they push each one of us. I'm a woman of faith, so I always talk about the scripture, iron sharpens iron. And that is definitely what's happening here in the legislature. We are supporting one another, encouraging one another, and pushing one another to be the best that we can possibly be, because us being at our best means that Black Californians get an opportunity to be at their best because they have a strong group of women advocating for them. And of course, as was noted, there's 12 total legislators, Black legislators who are doing amazing work, some of them have been there a long time and on their way out. And we look forward to their successors as well, who they're grooming to be in the seat that are Black. Our agenda this year is pretty powerful. Now, we focused a lot. It's interesting. I'm a generalist led by nature, coming from being my mayor background and local government background. You deal with the issues that come to you, so you tend to be a generalist. But our focus primarily in our legislation has been on criminal justice reform this year. We have ACA 4 by Assemblymember Bryan, which is involved in restoring voter rights, ACA 8, that introduced out of my office, ending slavery in California. We have Senator Bradford, a vehicle enforcement. This allows for not stopping vehicles for minor infractions. We have AB 93, another Assemblymember Bryan bill, which deals with consent searches, which says that you cannot voluntarily provide consent, and that can't be used as a justful search from law enforcement. AB 280, Holden's bill, ending solitary confinement, and AB 807, this is the DOJ, this is from McCarty's office, DOJ, Office of Special Investigation, investigating all deaths as it relates at the hand of law enforcement. It doesn't have to be a particular one, whether it's unarmed, it's all deaths. So we focus primarily on criminal justice this year when we thought about our priorities as a group. However, we know that many of our individual members are championing a very wide range of educational issues. And we have 3 issues that are part of your framework, 2 bills and a budget item from our CLBC members. And I'll remind you of those. AB 1400, Assemblymember Bryan. This is, I'm sure, near dear to your heart, as it's the Student Financial Aid College Access Tax Credit Fund for community college transfers and historically Black colleges and universities. Assemblymember Holden introduced AB 368, our College and Career Access Pathways Partnership, as well as from McCarty, the budget item, which was the Cal Grant Equity Framework. All of those, as I understand it, are a part of your policy agenda. And I appreciate your policy agenda because community colleges are absolutely the safety net, especially for Black Californians. I can't tell you how many of my fellow students, when we were graduating, who went to community colleges versus a 4-year university that helped their family. I happened to get the opportunity to go to a 4-year university, but when I had to take a break because I had my second child, and we were in transition as a military family, community college is where I found a way to stay up to date on my education while I was waiting to go back to another university and end up getting my AA degree at my local community college. Now, when I look at your policy agenda, I recognize that it is dire that we as a village all lean in to support the increase of Black students graduating from higher education. That is an absolute pathway to a high quality of life. And I have a firm belief, and I say it everywhere I go, that every single person has a right to a high quality of life. Every single person has a right to define what that looks like for themselves. And my only job that I do in the legislature as a community leader, as a government leader, is to facilitate that. And so community college is a pathway to improving quality of life for Black Californians. And now we're in a post-COVID time of recovery. Our community is in a deep need of resources from all of our local, state, and national partners to ensure we're helping disadvantaged students, particularly to make college affordable and supporting their everyday basic needs, such as funded programs to provide items such as monthly bus passes, childcare vouchers, gas, access to Wi-Fi, food, and the list is inexhaustible. We know that it is great support is needed. We know great support is needed to ensure our students are taken care of while they're going to school. And it's not just, it doesn't just stop with tuition and fees and books. It has to be comprehensive. The whole support has to be in mind. We also know that community college enrollment is severely down. This trend was happening before the onset of the pandemic. So it's really important that we have outreach, financial aid, and career pathways to ensure our students are able to be laser focused on their academics and will be able to matriculate out timely into the workforce to high wage and high demand jobs. We know that every extended time that you're in school is directly impactful to your ability to be able to get a good job when you come back, when you finish up your education. It's a delay, which that delay could cause you having to drop out of school because the resources just aren't available for you to stay in school. And so we also know that an educated community is vital to a thriving economy. And so we support your work and we support your framework. Our caucus has two initiatives to help support our efforts of students taking advantage of higher education and enriching the lives of our high school and college students. We have our African American Leaders for Tomorrow. We refer to it in a lot of places as AALT. This is a 4-day residential summer leadership and advocacy training program for 10th and 11th graders at California State University, Dominguez Hills. This year, we're adding a technical immersion component to give our students greater exposure to STEM education and careers. And not only does this help our 10th and 11th graders, but we also have students who are in college who also support us, our work through, they get stipends to be counselors or just chaperones are part of the process. So if that's something that any one of you are interested in being involved and engaged in, please reach out to the Black Caucus. Another aspect that relates to ensuring that people have access to higher education, whether just being exposed or funding, is our scholarship application. Our annual Fredericks Roberts Scholarship College Scholarship Program for college freshman students is open. And this is not just for students going into college, but it's also for college, our freshman college students to continue in college. This annual scholarship program was named after the first African-American state legislator, Frederick M. Roberts. It was established to assist deserving students by offering financial support to meet educational expenses. So not only do you receive a scholarship, you also financial scholarship, you also receive a laptop. So it's a really important program. Both of those, our AALT program as well as our Fredericks M. Roberts Scholarship Program, the application period is currently open and expires on May 15th. So if it's something that you're very much interested in participating in, whether getting more information or actually applying either for the scholarship, or you know someone to apply for this to participate in the 4-day residency, or you're involved in supporting that, being paid to be able to be a part of that program, please reach out to our caucus. I believe my legislative aide is on, and if she is, I'll have her put this in the chat, and if not, I'll type it in quickly. It's cablackcaucus@gmail.com. That's where you can get more information about those two programs, and just email that to say, hey, I want to know more about the scholarship, or I want to know about the residency program at Dominguez Hills. Once again, it's cablackcaucus@gmail.com. I'm really excited about this opportunity to be able to speak with you. I hope that you'll consider not only my office as the Assembly office, but also my office as the chair of the Black Caucus as someone who absolutely supports and is a resource and wants to collaborate with you to ensure that we live up to the name, Black Student Success. That's what we're about here in California, is not only encouraging Black Californians to be the best that they can be and give them the resources as they can, but also to make sure we're going all the way down and including our students and saying, hey, we want you to have a high quality of life. So tell us what you need so we can give you the support you need so that you can hit the ground running as you venture into adulthood. With that, I'll open up to any questions, but if not, thank you so much for giving me this platform to be able to speak with you today.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chair Wilson. What tremendous work you're doing for Black Californians across the state. I know our coalition here and everybody on the Zoom call really looks forward to engaging and supporting your work moving forward. We definitely have a lot of questions in the Q&A, so I know our team will be answering those and we'll follow up with any other questions. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Hi, everybody. Katrina again here. Hopping us into our presentation for today, now that we're 4 years into Black Student Success Week, we thought this was a valuable time to reflect on our collective accomplishments in state policy over the last 4 years, and to look ahead at the work that remains to achieve equitable state funding for Black students across California. Many of you here today have heard the story before. California is home to the 5th largest Black population in the US, with 2.1 million residing across California. We know the majority of them attend a community college with over 120,000 enrolled, with another 20,000 at CSUs, 9,000 at a UC, and 12,000 at independent nonprofit universities. Unfortunately, we still see a high number of students opting for a for-profit education, with over nearly 40,000 attending for-profit institutions across the state, which we know often do not adequately serve our students. Yet we systematically underinvest in Black students in higher education and across education. We know that K-12 institutions are not supporting Black students in adequately completing AG requirements. Black students are expelled at rates 3 times more than the white peers. And there's a whopping 200 per pupil gap between Black students and white students. That's $200 less being invested in every single Black student compared to their counterparts. Our annual policy agenda is really a call to action, because failing to support Black students is a major loss not only to our state's success, but to every single Black student we fail to support in the process. So our annual policy agenda is, again, a call to action, not only to policymakers, but to each one of you here to continue to beat the drum for increased investments for Black students and our communities. Informed by the AMEND and UMOJA summits over the years, the policies that we'll elevate today are evidence-based and intentional opportunities for us to invest in Black students. Over the last few years, your direct advocacy has resulted in over $1 billion, that's billion with a B, dollars in state investments that further Black student success. And we'll get into what some of those are right now. Informed by our Follow the Money report back in a few years back, we advocated for over $500 million in AG completion and access for K-12 students, investments in community college development, including professional development for faculty, culturally competent training, and COVID response and online education support for students across our community colleges. And arguably one of the most important investments, $1.1 million for our AMEND programming, which is focused on supporting Black men in pursuing their higher education journeys, and over $170,000 for UMOJA programs, which we know really support Black students in their college journeys with direct supports on their college campuses. Tangibly, the result of this funding has meant colleges have been able to utilize innovative practices to support Black students in their college journeys with direct monetary aid. We've seen colleges be super innovative in the way that they're supporting students throughout the pandemic. Basic needs supports, fee reductions, supporting with parking, and other incentives that we know really change the way that students pursue education and oftentimes allow them to just be students. Despite these investments, what is the most important is following the money to the end, what progress is being made and how students are directly benefiting from these investments. And so despite these tremendous successes this year, we continue to call on policymakers to invest in Black student success with our top priorities remaining. We have three top priorities, the first of which ensuring college affordability. As Chair Wilson shared, we continue to call on the state to ensure funding for the Cal Grant Equity Framework, which will increase aid for over 11,000 Black students across California. Also, as more students opt for HBCU education, we are excited to support a bill that will allow HBCU students to take aid to their institutions, as we will talk about AB 1400 later. And at the same time, we support SB 447, which will create greater opportunities for students to travel to states with HBCUs in them, but who may be subject to certain California travel bans. Our second priority is funding and supporting Black students with intentionality. We call for support for the governor's $200 million retention and enrollment funds for the community colleges, which will allow colleges to implement those targeted best practices to support Black students. And we further ask for that to be ongoing, as we know the work can't be done in 1 year, and colleges really need that sustainable funding to continue the work down the line. And finally, we're always excited to prioritize dual enrollment as a lever for Black students in high school to access college for the first time. And we support that AB 368 bill that you heard earlier that will make dual enrollment more affordable for high school students, and will also be super intentional about how we define underrepresented students. While this isn't encompassing of all the policies that will further Black student success, we think these are the ones that are key levers for furthering our work as a coalition. And we look forward to later this week on Thursday, launching our Blackout Advocacy Day as we take on the virtual Capitol in legislative meetings with key leaders in the Capitol to share these priorities and to share our personal stories about why these policies will be really impactful for our communities. So again, congratulations everybody on that $1 billion in investments over the past few years. And here's to billions more in the coming years. So thank you for that. And now I'm really excited to lead us into our panel discussion, where we will hear from students and practitioners who have seen the benefits of these policies and funding opportunities. We'll talk about what Umoja funding means for students, what COVID relief funding looks like in practice, and really understand where these dollars are going and help legislators and policymakers and the governor see the real impact of their decisions in Sacramento. So with that, I'm excited to introduce our panel. We have a slate of awesome folks joining us today, including Dr. Erin Azu-Settle from the Community College to HBCU Partnership, Destiny Joseph, who's joining us all the way from Louisiana over at Xavier University, an ADT recipient, that's an associate degree for transfer recipient from Antelope Valley College. Evan Roberts, who is a financial aid counselor at Texas Southern University, also an HBCU out in Texas, of course. And President Claymont Turvalone, the Student Senate for California Community Colleges president. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And while we get folks pinned up, I'm going to kick us off into our first question for everybody. Let's just have everybody introduce themselves. I introduced where you're coming from today, but can you go around, give us your name again, and then what are you passionate about in the work that you're doing right now? And we can start with Dr. Azu-Settle.
Hello, everyone. So glad that you all could join us. So excited and honored to be joining you all. I'm Dr. Erin Azu-Settle, Project Director for the California Community Colleges Transfer Guarantee Agreement to HBCUs. I'm also a proud HBCU graduate from Fisk University, one of our partner schools as well. And I am most passionate about Black student success. I am very privileged to directly impact that in the work that I do day to day.
Thank you. Let's go to Destiny, Evan, Claymont, and then Mazen.
Hi, my name is Destiny Joseph. I'm at Xavier University. My major is accounting. I transferred from Antelope Valley College in Lancaster. And I'm passionate about the fact that I am a first gen student, and I'm setting a path and a guideline for everybody in my family, and then some as I make my place in corporate America.
Evan, we'll pass it to you.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. I'm glad to be here. So, as the panelist said, I'm Mr. Evan Roberts. I think I'm like a third or fourth generation HBCU alumni. Me and my mom actually graduated together, so I have a lot of roots here in Houston within the HBCU culture and lifestyle. So I am a financial aid advisor. I'm a financial aid counselor. I pretty much work here at Texas Southern University, here in the heart of Houston, Texas, to pretty much educate families, communities, other co-workers, faculty, staff, and everybody about the benefits of financial aid. And pretty much my day-to-day job looks like I'm reviewing accounts and I'm letting people know how much they qualify to receive, and I'm either processing or dispersing financial aid. And I'm also in grad school as well. I'll be graduating next May with my Master of Arts in Sociology. And I'm very passionate about educating everyone on their financial education as far as financial aid. And then more so with the job, I'm really just passionate about helping everyone reach their educational goals. And so financial aid is pretty much just a tool that people use to try to gain their education. So I'm very excited about everyone just gaining their education and really seeing the students kind of matriculate. That's very, very exciting to see them come in, to see them actually learn and transform into these wonderful adults. And then they go off and get their degree, and they're now in the world making big things happen and changing and everything. So yeah, that's my piece.
Hello, everyone. My name is Clement Servalon, and I am a returning veteran student at College of Alameda. And one of the things I would be most passionate about is just equity in higher education. I feel we all deserve to reach our potential through higher education.
Thanks. And Mazen, thanks for joining us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mazen Saeed. I currently go to Berkeley City College, and I'm also the student body president at Berkeley City College.
And what are you passionate about in the work that you do?
I would say, like over the last 2 years, I would say I'm very passionate about like student leadership and student advocacy.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to hop right into it because I have a lot of questions for you all. I'll start off with Mazen, a question for you. And I'm seeing a lot of shout outs to you all in the chat. So thank you all for sharing. As a student leader, I know you have a unique opportunity to advocate for your entire campus, which can be scary, but also super fulfilling as you make sure that every student has what they need. Knowing, as we shared earlier, that community colleges received a huge influx of not only federal, but state funding for COVID relief. How did you see that funding in action at Berkeley City College?
Yeah. During the beginning of COVID, I know like our campus had a lot of, we spent a lot of money on providing students with laptops, Wi-Fi, hotspots, other like technology things for students to succeed virtually. We also, within the beginning of COVID until now, we're still continuing, have built a basic needs program where we have like a food pantry every week, which is also accessible, I believe, like throughout the day. We also have every Tuesdays, we provide free lunches for students. And I believe we're slowly starting to get in our way into like providing clothes or like socks and other like necessities for students. And then lately, or like recently, we also did a huge like technology kind of update where we got newer laptops to provide for students who are studying in STEM courses like CS, computer science, bio, things in like which the Chromebooks are not capable of. That way they are able to complete like their coding projects as well as their labs for their sciences.
I love that. It sounds like basic needs have been a huge focus for your campus, and definitely an area where we know even when we have full tuition and fees covered, there's still so many other costs associated with colleges. So love that y'all are being really innovative in the way that you're directly supporting students with what they really need. Also want to ask Destiny, I know you were over at Antelope Valley College during the pandemic. How did you see that funding impact your journey?
I was part of the program, CARES and EOPS. And so right after, when COVID hit, I lost my job. And so I was struggling a lot. And a friend of mine who was already in the program was the one who told me about it. And so they provided like stipends for books. I got free merchandise like notebooks and backpacks and stuff like that. Also, they required us to do 3 counseling sessions at the school to like go over our plans and how we're going to transfer things like that. And I had never just actively gone. And so when I went, it helped me better like feel secure in my class choices and being able to actually move past here, because COVID really hit me not only financially, but mentally in my working through community college. So they helped a lot. They had multiple other events and resources. I didn't take full advantage of all of those, but I know a lot of people, my friends who are part of the program as well, that did. Especially I had a friend who was in Umoja as well, because I was in there too. She was homeless and they helped her find housing. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. It's amazing that you had so many resources. President Turvalone, also want to come to you real quick as a student advocate and the voice for community college students. What was the most important advocacy that y'all engaged in during the pandemic, and what did that feel like to know the outcomes of all that you have been working on?
You know, there's so many things we worked on during the pandemic. It's hard to choose just one. But things that I'm really proud of that we worked on. One is our anti-racism plan of action, which is ongoing. That led to just enlightenment and on the needs that are really there, which kind of will lead into a student grievance policy that you'll hear more from in the upcoming year. But also our work on AB 132, which was a foundation for the basic needs centers and basic needs coordinators on the campuses. And I think we can all see the fruit that's come out of that labor.
I love that. Any other thoughts from our students? Mazen?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to add. I think a big thing that we also did within the last year across our Peralta district is providing students. Last fall, we had a fall is free. That way students can take up to, I believe, full-time units for free. We also did that for the spring. Also super excited this year, or this upcoming school year, they're also going to provide fall is free. So almost a year and a half worth of free courses for students to take. We also have like AC Transit bus passes that students can get for free. That way they can get to campuses unlimited for the semester or the school year, which is also covered under the fall is free, or fall and spring is free, which is amazing. And students can use that outside of like classes. So like if they wanted to go hang out with friends, they can use that bus pass to get around town. It's not just for like community courses, it's for whatever.
I love that. And very clearly, as we work towards that additional enrollment and retention funding, just seeing how colleges are being really innovative in this is really exciting to see, getting that funding directly in the hands of students. So I'm going to transition us real quick to an HBCU conversation, passing it to Dr. Azu. We know transfer is a huge priority for the governor and for the state, as we've seen really major policies move in the past couple of years. A partnership between our community college and how you've seen that impact the way that students think about not only college, but their transfer journey.
Yeah, it's been an interesting past few years, 3-4 years for sure. So our agreements were initially signed in 2014, and we had our first cohort of students in 2015 with 9 partner HBCUs. We've grown to 39 partner HBCUs currently, and we've definitely noticed an increase in interest as well as awareness from both students and our community college colleagues as well in regards to HBCUs. And we feel a lot of that has to do with, unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic and all that it brought up, as well as the, the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor that really sparked something within students that they wanted to have these environments where they're nurtured and seen as a whole student, a whole person. And so that's where HBCUs really come into play, because they do that for students. And so with our guaranteed admission agreement, students can be transferring from any California community college to one of our 39 partner campuses, and they have guaranteed admission as long as they have a 2.0 GPA. There are about 7 HBCU campuses that will require higher, a 2.5, but the higher the better for those financial opportunities. And at least 30 transferable units or an ADT, and students have guaranteed admission to any of our partner HBCUs. So outside of the guarantee, we also provide support for our students before their application process, while they go through it, and once they reach their HBCU and graduate from that campus.
I love that. And I'm really excited. I think half of you all are HBCU associated. So really looking forward to diving into this this next topic. Destiny, I know you went through the HBCU transfer process and we chatted a bit about affordability. Can you tell us about your transition to Xavier and what was that most difficult transition point? In this 2-part question, you heard about AB 1400 earlier and that $5,000 grant that California students could take to an HBCU. What would that kind of funding mean to your educational journey?
I think the most difficult part was getting there. I have to think about travel expenses, and when you first transfer, they want you to pay half of the tuition before you can are fully registered into your classes. So for me, with all my grants and everything else I got, I had got scholarships as well. Even with all of that, I still had to pay out of pocket over $3,000. And so it was a lot of fundraising, friends and families coming out of pocket to help me even get to the school. So that was the most difficult part. It was a long summer of me worrying if I was going to even make it. But when I got to school, I immediately got a job because I knew I had to pay that again at the end of the semester. And so it was a lot of hustling on my part to pay and be secure in my spot. And I feel as though if I had that $5,000, I at least at the beginning of the semester would have felt secure, and I could have saved whatever I had left over to pay at the end of the semester. I think a lot of my time was spent worrying and stressing when it needed to be spent focusing on my class and adjusting to the new environment. Because I was born and raised in California. This is different. This is real different. Yeah. But that was my transition. But I don't regret it. Don't regret it at all.
Absolutely. And that $5,000 could go towards expenses, savings, your travel, that gas money getting to and from Louisiana. So definitely appreciate that answer. Evan, I'm going to hop over to you for a question around your experience as a financial aid counselor at a out-of-state university. Does this experience sound similar to you? If you had to take a snapshot of the financial need of students coming from California who are transferring from California specifically, where does financial aid come into play?
Yeah, definitely. I'll be happy to answer that question. And so pretty much with any out-of-state student, it is going to be a little difficult because as the other panelists mentioned, the school charges out-of-state fees. So it is very difficult for you all to afford that. So with financial aid, with my role, I essentially would try to make sure that your budget is correct so that you can receive all of those scholarships and everything to help help you all out. Particularly with the students that I deal with, I try to encourage them to get some type of on-campus scholarship or university scholarship with either the honors department or the band, because I was a member of the marching band myself. So pretty much with most of the scholarships, you can request an out-of-state fee waiver. That is pretty much one of the best things that you could receive at any institution. Some institutions actually don't charge out-of-state fees, but pretty much here at TSU, we do. So I highly encourage students to apply for those scholarships and try to get a university scholarship, and more importantly, request an out-of-state fee waiver. A lot of times, unfortunately, the students will have those very large balances, and it is difficult for us to try to get the financial aid. So it's good that I'm actually hearing these type of on this type of panel so that I can hear the information to help out students from California. I actually had a parent earlier today. Her daughter is a wonderful dancer on the dance team, and she's always contacting me because she unfortunately has to apply for that Parent Plus loan and take out a large loan to help pay for those fees just because she is out of state. So after hearing this, I'm gonna give her some of this information, let her know to apply and contact the Black Caucus in California so that y'all can help her out. But pretty much with financial aid, if the student does qualify for enough financial aid, it may be enough to cover the charges. But if not, I would definitely request an out-of-state fee waiver. And then if not, unfortunately, you will be paying for school out of pocket, or taking out those private or alternative loans to help pay for your education.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all know grant aid far better than taking out a loan, but sometimes unavoidable. Really appreciate that reflection. And, as we think about getting students to transfer to 4 years, it's not enough to just get them there. It's the additional supports we're giving once they get there. The financial aid supports, the transitionary phase that students have to go through, and going to a completely new state. So Mazen, I know you're gearing up to transfer, whether that be a UC, CSU, or HBCU. What's the scariest part about thinking about that process for you? And most exciting part too.
I'll start with the exciting part. The exciting part, I would say, is like meeting new people, and like having a whole different experience. You're like in a new setting, and you're trying to like adapt to the new setting, I would say. It's kind of like similar to like transitioning from like high school to college. It's a whole new atmosphere, I would assume. But one thing I'm kind of like on the fence about is like the affordability, and like the housing costs. Because I feel like as students, I don't think that we should be like completely focused on, I think we should completely be focusing on our education and activities rather than being concerned if we won't be able to have enough to pay for tuition or housing costs and stuff like that. That we're not like, I think once you start worrying about that, you kind of lose track of your academic journey, and you're just trying to meet and like trying to get to ends meet. And then also like understanding the differences between like financial aids. I think not a lot of students understand a lot of the different grants or loans, or like reviewing their financial aid packages. And then the other aspect would be transferring, and like the whole social aspect, trying to meet new people. I think feeling a sense of belonging, or feeling like you don't really fit in, but trying to avoid that and network or like socialize with new people. So I'm looking forward for the transitioning process, and hopefully it'll be a fun ride.
We have plenty of people here who can definitely guide you through that process. So transitioning from our conversation on the HBCU, we want to go back to the UMOJA and amend funding that we discussed earlier. Question for all of our students here, and for anybody else who might have experience with this. Can you tell us about UMOJA and how that changed your educational experience? And maybe for folks who might not be aware, quick one sentence on what UMOJA is before you give your answer. So Destiny, Mazen, Claymore, any of you, feel free to jump in.
Okay.
Go for it.
You want me to like talk about what it is or just like my experiences with it?
Yeah, let's tell us what Umoja is, and then what kind of supports do they provide you, and how did you discover it, basically?
Okay. I believe it's a program for African American students to provide them like a safe space and also like um, be grouped with also people that look like you who are in similar shoes as you um, and to also help you with your academic journey. Um, my experiences with it has been great. I first came into college going through a program we have called Society of Scholars, which is like different groups. It's like Fuente, Umoja, and other groups. And I was a part of the Umoja cohort. And there's other students that look like me or in the similar shoes as me. We're all like grouped together. There's multiple like social events, various like educational like opportunities. So like help us with like a cohort with the same classes. So you'll have like English courses, like the basic transfer courses you'll have with the cohort if you want to. And the teachers, there's like multiple like support courses that follow with it if needed. I enjoyed I was with them now for 3 years. And I think if I wasn't with Umoja, I would feel kind of like lost or like not feel a sense of belonging in my journey of community college. I feel like I would just be to myself and just getting my courses done and trying to get out. But as I got into it, I think I was able to meet new people and meet people who are in my similar like processes, trying to transfer and trying to like get to their educational end goal, which is great. And I truly enjoyed it and truly like happy and blessed for it. It really helped and changed and impact my journey.
Love that. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to chime in on that one?
Yeah, I'd like to agree. Before I joined, it's funny too, because I joined EOPS under like the CARES program. And when I was like going over my plan or where to transfer, stuff like that, my counselor that I had to meet at like 3 times a semester, she literally was like, "Have you thought about HBCU?" I was like, I don't know. And she walked me over to Umoja, and there I got a community and I got information. They presented a lot of webinars and stuff like that about the California Community College to HBCU guarantee. And it just gave me so much information, and also community. Like I still have my mentors and the leaders in the group phone numbers, and I text them updates about how it is out here. And I tell them, if you have anybody that's interested in coming over here, let me know. I'll help them out. Like they got me. And so it really gave me a community at community college, because I feel like a lot of times when you go to community college, it's like, I need to just get my stuff done. I gotta go. I was working 40 hours and paying rent, car note, insurance. I was just moving. And so it gave me a place to go and talk to somebody about the journey and stuff like that. So it built a good sense of community for me.
I would also like to add, like, I feel like with the program, they also provide you with counselors specifically just for Umoja, as well as like grants and also like various opportunities like to different conferences. I was able to go to the A2Men conference a couple months ago. There's also, I believe, other conferences that you're able to go to. Also, the counseling is super important. Like at a community college, you're with about like, I think BCC has 6,000 students. So like the basic counseling, it's more of like, they just look at your file, but the Umoja counselors they look at you and they also know who you are, have a sense of like, they know you as a person rather than as a student. So they're able to like connect with you more, in my opinion.
Thanks so much, everybody, for sharing. And I can't believe we're at the end of our time together. So I'm going to close us out with a final question for all of you. I'd love for you to chime in with whatever comes to mind. If you had a direct line to your local representative, even to your community, like if you had one request for students here today or for practitioners here, what would you ask for, what would you highlight here? And we'll just go around. I'll start with President Turvalone.
I would say it would definitely be full implementation of the Cal Grant framework. It's one of those things we all know that once our basic needs are met, that we can excel. It's never been a capacity issue or we can't do it. We just need those services, those wraparound services. That just mentioned with Amin and Yamoja, providing students with those wraparound services so we can excel. And I think full implementation of the Cal Grant framework, as stated, would help more than 11,000 of our African American and Black students. So for me, that's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Dr. Azu, I'll go to you next.
Yes, well, for sure, the Assembly Bill 1400 for the HBC grant for students transferring. In the Q&A, I put in details and resources on how anyone can support it at this point with a support letter, calling your assembly person. It's all in the Q&A under the answers. And then also the travel ban. Understand what it was intended to do. However, it has not done that. Instead, it's really hindered a lot of our students' ability to visit our HBCU campuses, because it's no coincidence that the same issues that are impacting the LGBTQ community are in spaces where the majority of our HBCU institutions are located. No coincidence, completely systemic and intentional. So repealing and adjusting that travel ban so that our students can visit the campuses, find the right fit, the right match.
Love that. And yes, you can reach out to any of us here and we can get you plugged into that effort. We'll go to Destiny.
Just let's try to even the playing field. The best for us is to be able to really focus in on our basics. If I can fully focus on my classes and getting these clubs into my resume, I feel like I would be at an even playing fields with the other people that are around me, and then that'll be better quality accounting for you. So
Love it. And then Evan, what has been most exciting for you from this conversation today?
So most exciting, I want to say thank you to everyone who was on board. I really didn't even see the almost 500 people. So thank you all. That's probably the most exciting part, is knowing that we have a generation of students and youth and parents that are all ready and are willing and are doing the work. You all are here right now, listening to us talk about higher education and everything. So thank you all. I think that is the most exciting part. And so as a financial aid counselor, I do just want to give you all a couple of tidbits. And as a former HBCU alumni, as a person who I pretty much kind of had to, pull myself up from my bootstraps and work my way through college. So make sure that you all are completing the FAFSA application. I'm pretty sure all of you all probably have already done that. If you haven't heard of the free application for student financial aid, that is pretty much how you apply for federal funding and pretty much how you apply for financial aid. So make sure you complete that. You can search that on Google. FAFSA application. It opens up every October. So every October, if you're a returning student, make sure that you complete the FAFSA application. I also want you all to make sure that you apply for scholarships. Everyone who is here right now should probably already be in contact with the Black Caucus at California. So make sure that you utilize your resources. It is literally a team, a panel of people here and ready to help you out. So utilize your resources and apply for those scholarships. Make sure that you apply to the colleges, make sure that you apply to the colleges, get accepted and everything. Make sure that you understand your budget. Everyone cannot afford out of state. That's how I was. I was a band student and I wanted to go to Southern, but that was in Louisiana. My family was on a reduced income, so we couldn't afford that. So know your budget. That's really important. Also, choose your major. Make sure that you have a major. Lastly, get connected Once you get there on campus, get connected to an advisor, get connected to a study group or to an organization where you can feel like you have a family away from your family. That is really good, because if you all get connected with a group of peers, you all can network, you all can hold each other responsible. And of course, you're going to probably have a lot of wonderful faculty members that's going to feed into you, especially at the HBCUs. It's almost like a big family. We really try to look out for each other and make sure that you stay focused and finish the job. I know I can be a little long-winded, but I did want to make sure that I educate you all on just a little bit of things that can really help you excel through college and even after college. But this has all been exciting for me. I'm really just so excited to be here with a lovely panel of people. So thank you all for having me.
Thank you so much. And every single one of you, amazing experiences. And thank you so much for just sharing. And Dr. Curry's going to be mad that we're over a little bit. So I'm going to pass it to Dr. Handy to close us out as we prepare for the rest of the week. So thank you all.
No, that's wonderful. It's amazing that we have such wonderful professionals and students that are talking about their experience. As Assembly Lori Wilson told us, it's a village, and it's going to take us a village to advocate so we can see a change in our systems. And what does advocacy look like? It looks like increasing grant funding and increasing transfer partnerships. We want to encourage you to stay a part of the conversation, keep the conversation moving. We want to thank all our YouTube viewers. We want to thank all our webinar viewers. We are upwards of 1,500 today. There, immediately following this webinar is the after party. The link is in the chat. The link is also going to be emailed to you. You can also find the link on our link tree at CA Black Students. Stay tuned for tomorrow. Tomorrow we have another great day full of great panelists. We're going to be talking about the transition to the workforce and livable wages. In other words, show me the money. Thank you for being with us. Hashtag the Black Hour, hashtag Black Student Success Week. Please show us your pictures, tag us on all social media outlets. We're going to repost you, we're going to tag you, and we look forward to you being with us again later on this week. Have a great day. Peace and blessings.
It's